Right, so we're finally here after multiple months and like putting it off and rescheduling it. We're finally here. We're doing it. You and What Army listening party slash discussion slash live stream thing. We're finally doing it. I was meant to have Kieran coming on. Hopefully, he can join us later on. In which case, I'll let him in. But the person who I've got with me now is just as good, as I think his insights are going to be invaluable in this case. He runs a great YouTube channel called Caligeur, which is a really a one-stop shop if you're into like films or video games or like anything of that sort of thing. It's Caligeur, ladies and gentlemen. Whee! So basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be listening to each of the 9 You and What Army tracks that I have accrued over the months. Also, answering some questions. I got all of one question that I will answer, and also,
Yes, did you just get a single question?
I
Bruh.
only got one question, but I did ask Joe Allen, the You and What Army archive genie, some questions that he has answered for us. So I will, I will disperse them throughout the proceedings.
So this counts as an exclusive. Got to
Yes.
put exclusive breaking news in the title.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll be sure to do that. So you're good with this sort of stuff. You know how to title videos and all that lot. So we're going to start now. This first track is actually called You and What Army. I think it's the second one that they ever wrote, if I'm correct about that. I'm not entirely sure, but hopefully that is true, or else I've made myself look like an idiot. But I'm just going to get this out of the way now. That is probably the crappiest one out of the lot of them.
So that's the worst one that there's going to be.
In my opinion, yeah. I mean, it's the first one that they did, which we'll get onto in a bit.
Okay, so that's the first song. I was going to ask, was that the first song that they did?
I think it was the second. I think, yeah. I think it was, if I'm correct about that. I am guessing, but I imagine it is, because the first one that they did, which we'll get onto in a bit, I actually think that is considerably better than that. Just because I know that like they didn't have access to like a professional recording studio, but my God, did they record it with a sock?
I don't even think. I think the lyrics were the worst part. Like the audio quality was pretty bad, but the lyrics were like
I couldn't even catch half of them because it was like when people try and rap fast, but they can't even enunciate the words, so it's just like for like.
I thought the audio quality was good. Like the guitar was like whatever. It was all right, and the drums were like all right.
I thought you couldn't even hear the drums barely anyway.
It was when he stopped. You could hear them when he stopped talking. For like, there was one bit where it was like a good 5 seconds of just Dave not talking, and that was the best part of the song.
Yeah, I don't even know what the lyrics were. I didn't even catch any of them.
I didn't. I shut my brain off to what he was actually saying.
Oh,
I haven't retained a single one of them.
I didn't either, to be fair. I mean, this is probably funny, just sort of ripping into old. I mean, I know that I'm trying to be mates with Joe, and I hope this doesn't impair our friendship.
Oh shit! So yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I mean,
is he singing a lot of them?
What, like actual singing?
Well, like whatever that was. That can be what we just heard can be classed as singing.
Well, he raps on a lot of them, but the rapping is considerably better on most of them.
The rapping's considerably better. All right. Because if that was the standard of quality, it was going to be exhibited.
No,
we would not be in for a very good time.
No, that is like, I mean,
Dave's vocals.
You can tell it's one of the first ones because.
Oh yeah.
It's just like best.
Pretty much.
And then it's not like the kind of trademark sound that they built out for themselves. That wasn't there at all in that first one.
You're probably better at talking about that aspect because I've not listened to a single.
Perhaps. But that brings us on to this next one, which is called Apocalypse. This is slightly late. If I had to make an estimation as to when this was, I would probably say it is like one of the later songs that they did early on in their career, like because the sound quality is quite a bit better, and the sound that they had in a lot of their later material is starting to appear there more so than some of them. So I
So
guess
are all these songs from the? Is it the second version of the band? Or
okay.
'cause I've not
Mm,
brushed up on the history of them
no, it's fine. So
since seeing your videos. So
what is it? They started around 2005, and so all the songs that I've got are from like 2005 to like maybe early 2008 at the latest, and then they changed lineups and then went until 2014, I
all
think.
right. So is this the not changed lineup? This is the original lineup.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was. I think it was Dave, Joe, uh, Darren Smith, who I talked to on Reddit, and a guy called Tom Bridgewater, and
Okay.
also another guy who I will talk about when we get onto some of Joe's questions.
All right.
But so yeah, this is I believe it's called Apocalypse.
So okay. What would you give the first song? Let's give each song a rating.
That's a good shout. 3, 2.
I'd probably go for 2 as well. It's not very good.
Ice cold, I am proceeding the ice nine sign, neglecting of ultimate truth. A battle so epic it ends in a truce. Predicting use, seducing the source. Passing along an intangible.
Step to me, you'll know you'll drop heavily. Best lyric ever written? Question mark.
I could see that coming as well. I was like, I know when this lyric comes up, he's gonna be like, "Oh my god!" I mean, it does sort of make me cringe.
Did they really? And that was the one they chose to repeat and end the song with. Step to me, you'll know you'll drop heavily.
What does it mean? Does it mean like? I mean, I know what it means.
It sounds like it would be in the mumble rappers. So I can't. What is that song called? I can't even
What is
remember.
it?
Death to mumble rap. It sounds like it. Step to me, you'll know you'll drop heavily. Except they would say it 5 times faster.
Oh yeah. Oh god. I
That's
mean,
that's what that's what it sounds like it would be in.
yeah, that lyric makes me cringe. Although one thing that I did pick up, especially with this song, but you'll get it with some of the others, is there's always been like a weird sci-fi influence with what they've done. But I feel like later on in their career as a band, they sort of embrace that more in terms of like the art or like the album covers or just their like general stage presence. But there's a lot like lyrics like chromosphere or like psionic lightning or whatever. I don't know what that was about necessarily.
Maybe it's just like the rapping thing where it's like you just have a bunch of words that don't make sense that so they can rhyme so it sounds fast and cool and free flowing. You just throw in a bunch of techno babble jargon that no one actually knows what it means because it sounds cool and edgy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what chromosphere or psionic lightning means, but I don't think I ever will. Uh, I think in terms of sound, it's probably the closest they come to like the stuff that they'd go on to do later. Like, I think that a lot of the early stuff, while there was like a definite electronic influence there, always they sort of hop around a lot. So it's like they just do a load of random stuff on some of this earlier stuff that
Mm. Oh,
just
and
sort of.
you'll now know what chromosphere means. It just means a sphere of light. That's what it means in I think Greek, and it's one of the layers of the sun.
Oh right,
So
well,
it doesn't really mean anything.
dropping them deep science bars.
Yeah.
You know what?
So
I'm gonna look up what psionic lightning means.
what did you think of the song like overall?
Aside from a few cringy lyrics and maybe like it does maybe some of the electronics come across a little bit tacky at points, but I thought it was all right.
Well, I don't think this was that good. Maybe controversially, but I don't think this was that good. The best part was the scratching and the background beat when no one was talking. But the starting lyrics were awful and the rapping was laughable. Not because it's sick, not sick bars. It's probably just because it's boy in a band. It probably doesn't help that it's coming from boy in a band.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's kind of pigeonholed himself, I think, in like what he's done. Like I get that. Like I don't even. Well, how am I going to put this? It seems like what he's done since has sort of been very kind of on the nose with a lot of what he's been writing about lyrically and just how he writes about things. It's all just very on the nose.
Yeah, a lot of it's completely blatant or like joke songs.
Yeah, like what is it? There was this funny thing because PewDiePie put out that diss track against this kid's YouTuber or something, and straight away within like 2 seconds, somebody on stream when they were watching it asked, "Did Boy in a Band write this?" And it turned out that he had done. So I mean, I think that just says it all, really.
So he's not the best writer in the world.
Well, I just because I don't think he gets subtlety really, to put it one way. You know, I don't know. I just don't think he can write very subtly.
I was thinking of the build up in the song. I have no musical knowledge of musical terms, so I'm just saying whatever words seem to be right.
Yeah,
The
go on.
build up to the first lyric bit where it was complete nonsense. I thought like, oh, this is going to be one of those like proper death metal, heavy metal build ups where it's really good and then they just start saying nonsense and it ruins the song and kills enjoyment, and that's exactly what happens.
Oh,
So
God. I mean, I guess you can see the future. I mean, to be fair,
yeah,
if you want like proper death metal heaviness, I think this next one comes close because
ah,
there isn't rapping on this next one.
ah,
Not not really.
nice.
I got the order wrong. This one is very rap heavy, but you can't even hear most of it, so it should be all right.
Okay. What rating would you give Apocalypse?
Me personally, I'd probably give it like a 6.8, probably something like that.
I think I'd give it like a 3, a good 3, because it wasn't as bad. This is my official rating. It wasn't as bad as You and What Army.
I mean, you know, fair enough. I'll take that. The next one is called Prism. I'd like to go with your thoughts first.
The start of it, I think I can't quite remember because it felt like an eon ago. But the very start of it, the instrumental was good. And then I think there were vocals, and then there was more good instrumental. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But the start was good, and then it just got boring. There was no really interesting thing.
Yeah.
There was nothing to keep me engaged.
I think that's the problem with songs that are so long. It's just, you know,
you've got to keep something happening.
Yeah, or like develop it somehow.
How long was that? Was that like 6, 7 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
You've got to do something like, this is a bit of a normie thing, but a long-ish mainstream song. Probably one of the longer like mainstream songs is Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. And that just keeps changing and that just keeps you engaged throughout the whole 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, I get that, yeah. There was quite a funny quote in relation to this track, actually. Because when I was initially searching, on the Wayback Machine for like screenshots of their website and stuff, I came... Obviously, when I found that those tracks existed, I was like, "Oh wow, you know, this is cool." But each one of them, because they're on a website, they had a an anecdote to go along with them. And this one was quite funny. You might have to bear with me while I find the link.
Prism had a good start. If I only had to rate the start of it, like the first 2 instrumentals, it would be like a good 8. But the song was like a 5.
I've just realised that I forgot to give my rating for this song, so if I had to give a rating, I'd probably say like 6.6, 6.7. I like it. It's good. So on their old street team thing, if you posted on the forum, and every time you posted on the forum, you got points, and the more points you got, you could spend on stuff in like the website store, and you could spend money on some of these old songs. And the description for Prism was when Dave didn't realise that while rapping ridiculously fast was cool, it also made it a bit difficult to hear what he was saying.
Was it rapping ridiculously fast?
I mean, I thought that when I first got this song, I was like, oh my god, it's going to be like some Eminem rap god.
Yeah, some rap god shit.
But it's not really, to be honest.
No.
It's,
I don't know, when was that post made that talks about it?
Well, the screenshot I found was from 2010, but I imagine it was on there earlier.
I was going to say, a website where you get points. Did you and What Army create Reddit?
Oh my god.
Did they create early Reddit? Like, bruh.
Conspiracy theory. Oh my god. That's going in the tags.
That's exclusive.
I'm going to ask you a quick. Have you got your headphones on?
Yes.
Right. So I can tell that you are going to not like this next one, but it does fulfill the criteria of constantly changing. Like I said, there is one bit that's just absolutely wacko that I can tell you will despise with every inch of your being. But it does change a lot. So we can give it that. This is probably one of their well-known earlier tracks. It's called Step Into the Heliosphere. Which...
yes, I remember the name that you talked about. The start and end were good, and this seems to be a trend so far. The starts are good, and then it gets worse. It's like a downward descent, but it like plummets in the middle and then sort of climbs back up.
I mean, the middle bit, I still have no idea what they were going for with that.
No.
I have absolutely zero.
But I do think we've found a lyric that tops whatever he said before, which was the now new best lyric in the world. What is it, like, step up to me and you're gonna get stepped down or something? It's everybody screaming like they're gonna die. That gets Best Lyric of the Year award 2020.
I do have a funny story about it. Well, it's not really a funny story, but it is a story.
Let's say the story.
Basically, there's footage of a gig that they did on Joe's channel in 2007, and they play Step Into the Heliosphere at that gig. And the bit where it just goes absolutely insane, what is quite funny is that Dave is the only one doing anything, because like that whole bit is like entirely electronic, like the bit where it goes absolutely mental in the middle. So everybody else on stage just sort of abandons their instruments and runs around like lunatics for about 45 seconds and just like goes around jumping on people. It's quite hilarious. I might even be able to show you some of that if I can get the...
Oh boy. Oh my god. What are they doing?
Oh, fucking hell.
Is this paranormal activity?
We need to do questions. We need to do the first batch of
before we do
questions.
that, you relate to the YouTube audience, your feelings on Into the Heliosphere while I can get a drink of water.
Well, I think personally, for my own tastes, I think it is quite good because I don't know, I'm quite into like new metal and stuff, which is notorious for being quite a tacky form of metal because it mixes like metal and rap and electronics and stuff. I mean, it mixes like elements of electronic in there somewhere. So I'm just sort of predisposed to that sort of sound, and I think Heliosphere is kind of in that vein. Sorry, as is all of you and What Armies stuff. So I think I'm more predisposed to like it. Again, the middle section where it just goes insane, I'm not sure whether I find it just insane, like it's cool, or I find it insane and thus laugh at it because I find it amusing. I'm not entirely sure. If I had to give it a ranking, it's worse than Apocalypse, but I would say personally for me it's better than Prism. So I would say about maybe a 5 point, maybe like a 6.2 for me, probably.
Right, questions.
Right, so these first, I think it's 4 questions I have lined up. I had a jingle for this. Oh, I can share my screen and I can play the jingle.
Let's play the jingle.
Joe Allen, question time.
Anyway, first batch of questions. So I asked him, story of the band's initial formation. So
Is this the first one we're talking about?
yeah, like the OG. So
is that, you might have to relay some history and
Right.
to history. Is that the one where it was the 4 Mormon people?
yes.
All right.
Yeah, so Joe, Darren, Tom, they were all Mormons, I think.
So the second incarnation was the one with Dave.
Well, Dave was always, well, no, he wasn't always in it, but we'll get onto that. But he was in the Mormon. All these songs are from the Mormon period. So.
All right.
Right. So, my cousin Darren. So I didn't realise that the bass player is actually Joe's cousin, which I didn't.
So wait, it's everything's interconnected.
Well,
The lore is deepening.
So Darren was in a band called Rocket Trolley Racers, and he'd do shows at Mormon youth like events, playing like Nirvana covers, Blink-182 covers and stuff. And so Joe asked his parents if he could have a guitar, and he taught himself to play. And so basically him and Darren went to his house one day, and then Joe just played some chords that he knew, and then Darren just added bass to it, and that's how Fire in the Hole came together, which we'll listen to in a bit. And then their friend in the Rocket Trolley Racers, the drummer Tom, agreed to join, and then they played around with a few band names, one of them being Plan B, but then they settled on You and What Army, and then they started without a frontman and just playing Muse covers. How did you decide that the rap, rock, rave direction was the whole way to go? We never actually made a conscious decision on what we were going to sound like. It kind of over time evolved into what, with all 4 of us bringing different aspects and ideas into it, and then basically they just wanted to make songs that they thought sounded cool. And
all right.
And that's
is it really rap rock?
Well,
I'm not getting the impression that it's rap rock.
Well, there's rapping.
There's rapping, but like there's none of the rapping.
What?
There's none of like the sound of rapping, of like rap music.
Oh.
I guess it's because it's not like hip hop rock.
Well, yeah, that is.
Is that what it is?
I think you're kind of thinking of like Limp Bizkit type stuff, maybe.
I don't know what a Limp Bizkit is, so that's a joke. I am aware of the name Limp Bizkit.
I think you're better off if you don't, to be honest.
Oh, whoa, hot takes.
The first album's good, but then it just...
Is that a hot take that Limp Bizkit are bad?
No, it is definitely not a hot... It is a freezing cold take. So what was it like before Dave in terms of frontmen? So all 3 of them had a go at being vocalists because they just wanted to be a 3-piece originally, but they kind of realised that none of them could sing at all.
Well,
so they kind of...
That might have been better. People who can't sing might have been better.
Oh, that is a hot take.
Theological discussion. Can boy in a band really sing?
I mean, I won't argue that he can sing, to be fair.
I think he ruins every song he's on. This is getting posted on the Boy in the Band subreddit.
Yeah, we're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to be dead. So they asked a friend from church called Ben to sing for a bit, and apparently he was like a proper stereotypical rock and roll type person. And they also had a second guitarist and singer for a while. So they had like 2 guitarists and 2 singers for a bit, which is a little bit odd. So the other singer that they brought in was a guy called Mark, and Ben didn't like the songs that they were writing, so he just left. And then Mark got in. He was quite a quiet person apparently, but he did come out of his shell when they were performing live. There's footage of their first ever gig, like 15 seconds of it on Joe's Facebook page, but he has it on good authority that will never be released to the public ever. Which, I mean, I think is a shame.
Yeah, I think we should see the old stuff where it's not Dave.
I mean, that was likely a very, very short period of time, but
just hear anything that doesn't have Dave in it and just compare it.
right, there's 15 seconds that got posted where they start the gig with Mark shouting something that sounds like it's muffin time, but this was in 2005, so I really have no idea.
Bro.
This is not how you start a gig, or is it? I can personally confirm, no, it isn't.
How do you start a gig though? That's the real question.
Hello?
Is that yo? You scream hello. Is that Nigel Farage off to the side? Can we watch that video? Can we have a Brexit party listening party?
Okay, what time is it?
Oh my god, that's so Bro, the video quality do be kind of lacking, but to be fair, it was probably recorded. I don't even know what cameras were like, but it was recorded in 2005.
Yeah, what is it?
That's all that matters.
So, apparently Mark, like, he started to feel the pressure of performing live, so he didn't really want to do it anymore, because he didn't have, like, I don't want to say he didn't have the guts to perform in front of people, but something similar to that. So they had another mate called Justin, and he was like a really talented singer, really good guy, but his vocal style wasn't what they were looking for, really. They did write a couple of songs though, and although they did write a couple of songs, one of which was became the name of Dave's and Joe's, and I believe it was Darren as well. They had like a joke rap trio called the ALC, which basically, as far as
What does the ALC stand for?
It was Anna's Last Chance, I believe, is the song that they wrote. That was, I don't know what significance that has, but
so I was going to say, is there any like context?
I'm not sure. I may press Joe after this
to give us the context of this, for God's sake.
But basically, what they would do is Dave would beatbox, and then they would.
Oh my God!
And then they would play the recorder over it, which kind of makes me feel like, did they predate the whole like bad recorder meme?
If they did, and they've just been predating all these memes, if they had had like a YouTube presence in like 2009, 2010, they'd be absolutely like
meme.
They'd be classics.
Oh God!
And they would all be They would be public consciousness. Everyone would know that meme. The meme predator, you and what army?
But I think recorder rap trio, that sounds like something that could happen now, definitely, or maybe a few years back. And I said I was watching because they're on a TV show back in the day called T4, like Mobile Act Unsigned. It's like an X Factor type thing that was on Channel 4.
Except it's about it's done by T4 Mobile.
And I said that there's a guy in that who is with the band in their like, because they did this like interview thing before each of the bands played, and I said there's a guy in the footage who just doesn't seem to play an instrument, like he just sort of stands at the side of the stage. Apparently it's a guy called Eamon. Like, what did he do, apart from just stand at the side of the stage? And he said well, Eamon's just like a really good person, and he was in a band called Nobody in Particular, alongside the guy who later became a bassist for You and What Army called Jamie. And basically, Eamon would like play shows on drums when Tom couldn't, and just did all the other stuff like help them record, set up merch, did the lights and all that sort of stuff. We will get on to the next batch of songs now. These are some of the longest ones, although I do have to tell you that none of them are really that longer than Prism. So you shouldn't have
So
to.
they're like 7-8 minutes.
No, none of them are clips 7.5 minutes. I can tell you that for a fact.
All right.
This first one is the first ever You and What Army song to exist in the history of time, and it is called Fire in the Hole. And although there are a few lyrical gems, this is it's better than the first one.
Well, I've not got a lot to say. It was all right, but like generically all right.
Yeah.
I don't think it was very memorable.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense, it being the first one they ever wrote. So I was going to say you can't be too hard on it, but you can be as hard on it as you want. I don't really care.
I don't even think there was anything outstandingly bad about it. It was just sort of, apart from the audio quality.
Yeah,
but it's old, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only things that I really had to say is that, first of all, Listen to Us Flow Like a Lyrical River, I think, deserves contention as one of the...
That might be the second greatest line ever, besides, obviously, everyone looking like they're about to die. That what they said?
Something like that. But another thing I noticed about this track is that it does that thing that, you know, whenever a genre is being established, normally some of the first songs in that genre have the thing where they mention the genre in the lyrics. Like in that, in Gangsta's Paradise, oh no, is it Gangsta's Paradise? Like one of the first rap songs where it's like hip hop, hippin', hippity hip hop, whatever it is. Like they're mentioning the hip hop in the lyrics. And then a lot of the lyrics in that song were just like, we combine rock music and rap music. Yeah. I thought well, you can hear the drums properly at least, which is nice.
Who was the lyricist? Who was not the lyricist? Who was the vocalist?
Dave. Oh no, I think it was either Joe or Darren did backup.
Was it? Because it sounded actually like not bad. You sure it was Dave 100%?
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, but yeah.
Don't believe it.
But I mean, yeah, it's not the best, is it? Really?
No.
I mean, I think that Joe is kind of aware of this because he was like, oh, you know, really early, guys.
Yeah.
Please don't bully me. So I think they were kind of aware of that. But, you know, it's not the worst thing we've heard.
No, it's not You or What Army.
I can say.
Like...
I'd probably give that like a 4.
Yeah. Strong 4, I would say.
So
it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't good.
Oh, so I'm trying to think. Is that no? It's not your favourite so far, is it?
No.
We've had better ones. The next one is Euphoria. This is the longest one, and the quality. I don't know whether the quality isn't good. I can say that.
This is one of the early ones.
This is right. If I had to make a guess, because there are 9 songs here, so I'm just going to do a quick ranking on how old I think the songs were by just their audio quality or what I already know. If like first is the oldest, then this is probably like the 5th. But there seems to be a bit of a thing where there's not really that many songs that seem to be newer sounding. So it is probably one of the older ones. Yaowa's first foray into combining trance music with metal and hip hop. So I think the earlier ones were just like metal and hip hop, but then with Euphoria, it kind of transitioned into metal, hip hop, and also electronic music as well.
That was not that good. I
No.
would give it like a strong 2 because it wasn't really awful, but it was bad.
Yeah, there's a few things that struck me about it. Is that first of all, it doesn't justify its length in my mind in any way, because it just does the same thing for like 7.5 minutes, which is never good. And another thing I noticed is that like not only is this like their first and only attempt at trying to do like a deep song, which doesn't really
What's it about?
It's well, I mean, there was lyrics about like the futility of life and how genocide affects people and all that sort of stuff. It's like they never did a song like it again, and I'm glad that because their whole vibe is just like sort of like fantastical sci-fi type stuff, not like have you realised about how futile life is? Like that's not really their MO, if you get what I mean.
Mm.
And like, I don't understand why Dave at points just like becomes so overcome with emotion while he's rapping that his voice starts breaking.
Yeah.
That was slightly odd. I was like, what? He's not like this on any. This seems like a weird outlier to me. It's one of my least favorites. Definitely. Say it's like a.
It's got the same You and Army curse, which is because these are the first songs I've ever heard from them. So I'm going to assume that this is what all of their songs are like, where the starting instrumental is good and then it gets worse and it never picks up ever again.
Yeah, I mean, this is admittedly not a good introduction. Like, if you want a proper introduction, some of their stuff on Spotify that's a bit more polished is a lot better. I could probably give you some good recommendations that you might like a bit more.
That's what you should do. You should give recommendations. The sort of near the end of after we've talked.
Yeah.
To all the Army newbies out there who are like me and don't know what they're doing. What would your rating be, do you think?
3. I'm not a fan.
Just a solid 3. Good solid 3.
Yeah. I think this next one, and then we're going to do another batch of questions. This next one is called Cosmic Funk Blast and is...
Oh, I remember you mentioning this.
This is, I would say, maybe the rarest of all of them, because when I talked to Kieran, he managed to send it to me, but Joe didn't have it. So that makes me think that it's quite a rare one. And apparently, according to him, it wasn't on MySpace for very long at all. So this is one of the rare ones.
Well, let's start off with you first then.
Well, because I sort of thought, because obviously You Want Me were a very, very, very small band at the time. So part of me thinks that this song is meant to be satirical, in a sense.
Oh my God! If this is satirical, then this is good. It's good satire.
Well,
it's satirical something.
I'm just saying that because the lyrics about like girls, money, music, fame, whatever it is, they seem like very odd lyrics for somebody to write and actually think are sensible, good lyrics without there being some
girls,
kind of...
guitars, money, and fame. Don't hate the player, hate the game. They had that as the dramatic climax, and then it just stops. And they cut the instrumental. Just have him say it.
It has to be satirical to some degree, doesn't it? I mean, there's no way.
It's very sad if it wasn't.
There's no way that like a band of such small size at the time would write something
or a band of people of sound mind.
Yeah, would like. Well, even like I don't get it. Like even it has to be satirical because
basically no one would think.
Don't
hate the player, hate the game, as it would be a good idea.
That's like, unless you're like worryingly delusional. I don't know. I don't know.
Think bad writing is good. That would be the one question. That's the question we need them on for. We need to know whether was this Euphoria?
This was Cosmic Funk Blast.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
I was looking at
Cosmic. We need to know whether Cosmic Funk Blast is satire.
I mean, part of me thinks as well with a title like that, it sort of has to be satirical to a degree.
Because the title's got nothing to do with anything
Yeah, I was
in
thinking
it.
that. I mean, I guess Euphoria has some sort of relevance because it's like, you know, about like war and stuff, and you know, looking for a euphoria or whatever it is. But Cosmic, there's nothing about that song that makes me think that it's taking itself seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if
Could
you
be.
have any other...
When boy in a band's singing it, you just never know at this point.
Yeah, you don't, do you? I mean, the one thing I want to know, because there's a thing, right, I'll get onto all of this, but it does link into an argument that I'm about to go into later on, where did anybody in the band did he even show them any of these lyrics to like consult with? I don't imagine
If
he
it's
did.
not satire, so you're thinking they just started. They didn't even know what the lyrics were. They just started playing it
Yeah.
and recorded it. And they had one take. They could only afford one take, so they were swindled into doing the one take of this garbage song.
Well, I don't. Is this your least favourite so far? I'm guessing.
No, this is like a light too. It's not an interesting bad. It's not like the screaming stuff.
Hopefully, it's satirical. That's the only thing we really need to take away from this. With that, I think we can swiftly move on to my favourite segment in this whole thing.
Joe Allen question time.
How did you meet Dave and decide to recruit him? So this is actually an interesting one. I really enjoyed hearing about this. This is genuinely interesting to me. I moved to Telford from Macclesfield around 2000, 2001 and got put into a school where I got beaten up very badly, daily, basically. And it was forced to move to another school, which was the school that Dave and one of the singers, Justin, attended. Apparently Joe was really quiet, and during what he calls a particularly depressing PE lesson, they had to do cross country, and him and Dave were like the slowest, and so they just sort of started talking while they were walking across the cross country course, and I like where he says we were trailing at the back of the line as we weren't fit enough to catch anyone up, and then they started talking that lesson and became friends. And then Dave and Justin approached him at break and asked, "Oh, do you want to come with me and Brownie?" Because Dave was known as Brownie back in those days. And then Joe got the offer, "Do you want to come and play Dungeons and Dragons in the library?" And then they recruited Dave around the ALC joke rap time, which I think was just before Fire in the Hole started, like probably a few weeks before, maybe. I don't know. I'm acting like I know this. What was it like establishing a following? You know, it was fun. We just grafted, made music, played. None of them had a clue how anything worked. Just had a laugh and did things the way they wanted to do them, and people started turning up. The MySpace page isn't accessible now, but can you remember like any track titles, art, like album art or anything like that? And apparently there was like a load of like riffs and song ideas that they recorded and put on there. And there was one called Let's Destroy the Universe, which is in the live footage that I showed you earlier on. There was a lot of fan art, and there was like a reel of photos that people would send in, and they'd like apparently draw the band on themselves. Like they had a really hardcore following back in the day. And I said, in terms of like a live show, how like they tried to make it seem like a rave in terms of like their lighting and stuff. And then they said like, oh, it was a conscious choice just because they wanted it to be like a party for the people who were there, like loads of lights dancing about, you know, smashing things up, all that sort of stuff. Just like a classic rock and roll type of scenario. So that's all the questions for this segment. Join us back later on for some of the last questions. But in terms of the songs,
how many have we got to go now?
We have got, I can answer this question, we have got 2 to go. We have got one called As the Dust Fades and one called These Machines.
Again, it's not a lot to say, but it was the instrumental was okay. I think it was better from. I would give it a light 3.
Yeah.
Because it was better in the fact that Dave was completely inaudible.
Yeah, I thought that. It's like his vocals are mixed weirdly low on this song for whatever reason.
They're just covered up completely.
Mm.
I don't know if that was an aesthetic choice or like they just couldn't be bothered.
I really don't know. I mean, the thing I said, I mean, I'll probably cut the bit out where I said that, but what I said was it does the bare minimum in terms of what their style is. Like, it has rap elements, it has rock elements, it has electronic elements, but it doesn't really do anything to differentiate itself from anything that we've already heard, really. But there is a very interesting contextual argument with this song.
Oh,
and I think you know what I'm talking about.
I think I do.
So, this song was recently the subject of some controversy relating to some tweets that David made, where he recalled a memory where he would self-harm while listening to music, and then he wrote this song about that.
Are you able to pull up the tweet?
Yes, I can. I can pull up the tweet.
Pull up the tweet. But yeah, continue.
Basically, he wrote this song while in New Army, and apparently his bandmates made fun of him for it and just made him feel awful, and it was just really demoralizing to him and whatever. Well, that was probably a bit so let me because there's a lot of stuff that you need to take into consideration when you think about the kind of context behind this song. But you know,
and you talked about this briefly
yes,
in the second
I talked
You
about
Want Army video.
Briefly, yeah.
That was that bit because that tweet had just come out. Because I can't exactly remember, but that was one of the bits that was like not tacked on, but like
yes,
it was one of the black screen moments, wasn't it?
It wasn't. So the only I should probably so you can see the tweets here. Basically, what it boiled down to was I got the message from Darren on Reddit on like December the 6th or something. I can't exactly, it was sometime in December, but a few days before this. So maybe like, I think it was on Boxing Day or something, maybe something like that. And so that conversation had already happened between us, and I was like, I should probably make this into a video. So I start doing that, and obviously I'm trying to legitimize that Darren is who he says he is and all that sort of stuff. But then as I'm going through his like profile on Reddit, I see that he'd commented underneath a post where these tweets were displayed giving context. And so I didn't know that this was happening before.
Right, he was giving context.
Yes, because the tweets had been posted and people were getting really outraged at what he'd said. Because if you look at the tweets here, that's easy to understand. But like he felt like he had to give context to it so that it wasn't just him completely being slandered by Dave and what he'd said. So I came across that, and then I was like, I'll probably have to include this, not in terms of like just bringing it up for no reason, but because the whole reason I brought it up was
in terms of I can't just ignore this.
Well, yeah, and it was also that, but mostly it was because the whole You and What Army video structure is based around here is the timeline of events of me talking to this person, getting the things that I'm getting, doing the things that I'm doing. And so obviously this happened while I was talking to Darren, so I included it for that reason and that reason only. Not
this is part of the timeline.
Yeah, because it's like these tweets came out just as I had started talking to Darren. So they were very relevant. But obviously this is not the best thing to see. Okay, this is a good example. Maybe that's why you were around them, because you wanted to self-harm. They sound like they were super dicks. And there are a load of replies like this, which just obviously, if you were in that band at that time and experienced that going on, you're not going to feel too good about it, are you? Like, just people calling you a massive knobhead. Like, you're not going to feel too great.
Well, to be fair, I'm not going to lie. What was it? Because you got mocked for his vocals. That's part one of the context.
Yes, I didn't.
They were
forgot
saying,
to mention
how
that.
can you even mock him for his vocals? You can't bloody hear him.
That's
How
what
can you tell he has bad singing? The music completely eclipses him.
I mean, because I think he said they performed it live a few times.
Oh, okay. So only they could hear it. Maybe they just turned everything else on. Okay.
Well,
All right.
but if you really pay attention to the song, like if you go and because you can go and listen to it on Joe's channel, if you pay attention, because you can hear it if you really
don't, but you can.
Well, yeah, don't. But
not good. Don't.
You can hear that he is sort of trying to sing a melody along the chorus, and it doesn't sound good. So I think they were right to mock him in that instance, because it just isn't a good chorus.
And because he's a bad singer.
Yeah.
For that reason too.
Yeah, I mean it's the same. Like he can't sing, thus it wasn't a good chorus. Thus it deserved mocking. And like it's like because I don't think anybody, when presented with their friend writing a song about how they used to scrape themselves, is going to just laugh at that and be like, "Lol."
Well, I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty annoying that it's that it's just it's a blanket statement, right? Like it's just putting something out there with absolutely no context, and I don't know if anyone else has been harassed by it, like who was in the band. It's a fight they kind of cannot win.
Yes,
because they're going up against like a 3 million plus subscriber YouTube channel.
Yes, and that's another thing that I forgot about, but I would like to draw attention to is that after the video came out, Darren basically made one of the comments where it was like, we talked to Dave and, whatever. And I showed all of this in my video, but then when I posted it on the Boy in the Band subreddit, I got this comment from somebody that basically it was the most condescending comment I think I ever got from somebody. But this is not me being like, oh, I got hated on, I'm so upset. It's like because the tone of it was really condescending, and it was like, so I provided all this evidence because Darren had chatted with Dave and they got it all sorted out, and everything was good. Like, I included all of that, and so I posted the video, and then I got a comment that basically said, "Oh, so what you're telling me is that Darren didn't actually mock Dave because of self-harm. He mocked him because his vocal was bad, but then the blah, 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 blah. Oh, right, well, no offense, but you're full of crap, really." And I thought that was really odd because I presented all of the evidence that I possibly could, and yet they still didn't believe me or him. I definitely still have to clarify this because something actually happened after I posted that comment that I didn't realise is that afterwards, Darren actually replied to that person's comment, giving the context, and then they replied to it going, oh, fair enough, I believe you then now. But what I find weird about that is, I gave all the same evidence in the video that he gave in the reply to their comment. So I don't understand why it took him to actually say it to them personally to believe it when it was just there out in the open already anyway.
Because the people who are seeing it are fans of Boy in a Band, and they have no context to it. So they've just heard this shocking statement, and they do the natural reaction without knowing any context and already having predisposed bias to Boy in a Band. Yeah, but what I found it weird because I presented that context, and even then they still were like, nope, because it seems like they've just got blinders on. Yeah.
Reason.
Boy in a Band fans, I guess.
It's a shame that the reason they're being exposed to the most amount of people that they probably ever have been is for so tragic of a reason. Like, I find it quite weird. And it's like, another thing that I'd just like to touch on quickly is that some people are getting angry at the wrong people. Because
That's great. It's always good when there are situations like that because it shows that people have more irrational emotion than common sense.
Yes, because I went onto the group's Facebook page and I went onto their official breakup statement in 2014, and somebody left a comment, likely relating to the recent drama, which was like, "I'm glad Dave left you guys. You guys sounded really toxic," or something along those lines. And I'm like, do you not realise that the people who you were getting angry at left the band 6 years earlier? Like, they couldn't even.
They were addressing the this 2.0 version,
Yeah.
the newest people.
Yeah, they were addressing people like Kieran, and I'm like, what? Do you not even do your research? Like, what are you doing?
No, research comes after.
In it, you gotta. I felt like replying to their comment, just being like, "You do realise you're getting angry at the wrong people," but I didn't feel like that would be the best move for me to make.
Mm.
But yeah, in summation,
Even though it is true, getting angry at the wrong people.
I mean, it is true, and well, it's a. I guess it was a shame because I made that video and it took me forever. And then all of the comments that I got underneath the post were just like, "Oh, I've heard bad things about them. Better watch this." And it's like that wasn't even the focal point of the video. That wasn't even.
Have something like that in there, and that will be the only focus. But at least there were the side notes of like, "Oh, good video."
Yeah.
Good video, by the way. The
Yeah.
rest of this like 20-minute video, the 23 minutes, they're not about as good. I'm gonna write 5 pages on it on Reddit about how the 1 minute was bad, how you suck. But good video.
I mean,
Would watch
basically
again.
to wrap up, obviously anyone self-harming in any way is not to be laughed at. But the way that Dave handled this, I think, was very irresponsible and very ill-judged. And the
God,
fan
absolutely irresponsible is
And then I think the fan reaction, while ill-judged, is still that lies at the fault of Dave. Because another thing that you may have noticed is that while Darren did say that he messaged Dave and they all kind of ironed it out and they were all okay, why didn't Dave issue a tweet after going, "Oh, it's all resolved"? Those are his newest tweets. There are no tweets after that.
He's never tweeted anything since.
No, there are no tweets being like, "Oh, I chatted to one of the members and it's all good, guys, don't worry."
Yeah, we've hashed this out.
So you're just
Don't
gonna
go harass these people now, okay?
Yeah, like you're just gonna leave them bubbling with like fury for some reason. Because I mean, I get that, if you're accused of laughing at somebody's self-harm, that's obviously not going to make you look too good. But to just blatantly not even bother to address any new developments is just really.
That's a whole new level of irresponsible.
Yeah, definitely. So that's my 2 cents on the whole thing. I imagine when we post this, I'll get a lot of angry people trying to disprove my points. But I look forward to arguing with you. Right. The last track we're going to hear here is called These Machines. And it's one of the longer ones, but it should be fairly bearable. Hopefully.
Voice of reason passes through electric waves of lightning, blue and thunder too intense, take to elevate the landscape through what they inside power up, destroy life, target back.
The keyboards were 2, rated solid 2. It wasn't that good. The keyboard, maybe a strong 2, was a bit of an off 2. The keyboard was good and the ending was kind of good. If it didn't have that little background beat and it was just that sort of techno synth thing had going on, that would have been better.
Right.
Very good though.
That's fair enough. I think, to my mind, this is like Euphoria, but a bit better. I think maybe just because of my taste in music, I'm
slap that on the box. Euphoria, but a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just my personal taste inclines me to rate it a little bit higher, but I do feel like it does its job well enough. Although I don't get why they bothered to include the bits where he was just whispering.
Oh yeah,
I don't get why.
Maybe the whole bits when he was speaking at all, because that was all not good.
Oh dear. Well, this will be fun when I post it on the subreddit. But now, for the final time in this absolute shonkiest recording of all time, for the final time, ladies and gentlemen.
Joe Allen question time.
What was T4, the program, like? And he said, not everything on the show was actually as it happened. There was a lot of cutting and editing on the final show, and not everything the judges said was on there or even placed in the right order, which is always nice to know. It was a lot of fun, and we met a lot of really colourful characters during filming. One being a guy from a band called Salacious, called Teo, and he broke a bed during filming, and it got referenced in the lyrics to I Am the Navigator, the original version, which is absolutely true, because I can vouch for this. There's a bit in the original recording of I Am the Navigator where, in these properly like growly death metal vocals, he's like, "The bed is broken, Teo broke it, he's broken." And it's quite comical.
Doesn't make for very good lyrics, does it?
No, but you can't even.
It's a cool.
You can't even make it out properly. But if you know what it is and then you go and listen to it, that's what makes it funnier. I said, "Why did you choose to leave?" And he said, "Darren left due to some issues with the band. What happened with Darren also devastated me. I decided to leave the band." What happened there was the new drummer, Zach. There was a time where Zach, the drummer of You and What Army 2.0, was very briefly in You and What Army 1.0, but for a very brief period of time. So basically, Zach slept with Darren's girlfriend. So Darren decided to leave. And obviously, because Joe is Darren's cousin, he decided to leave as well. Dave, Zach, and Joe met in a McDonald's. And Dave asked if he could carry on in the band and just treat it like a business, which doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah.
To what that actually means. But then he just said that because of what happened, there was no way he could have carried on. But then clarifies that it's all good now, which I think is something that Dave couldn't be bothered to do. So thanks for that. Are you still in contact with the guys? Still in contact with Darren, speak to Tom occasionally online to discuss the Wheel of Time books, which I have no idea what they are. You may know.
No.
Nah. Make stupid jokes. Haven't spoken to Dave since the day I left. I have no idea why we just never reached out to see how the other one was. Probably because you can't get a hold of Dave if you make...
Yeah, 'cause he's got a big-ass YouTube channel now.
Well, also because he's a bit of a recluse, so I'm pretty sure you couldn't even get in contact with him if you made a blood sacrifice or something.
Bro, that sounds a bit extreme.
Well, I mean, it is. But bumped into Zach once. Saw Eamon and Jamie a couple of years ago at Download Festival. Had a good catch up and a few drinks. You know, most of us had the kind of friendships that just are, if that makes any sense, which I guess it does.
They just are.
Yeah, the friendships just, they are as they are, which I suppose is a pleasant conclusion to what, in all things considered, has been a bit of a grim tale up until now. The one fan question I got.
Just a fan question.
The one fan question. Do you know anything about Interrobang? There were some old videos of Dave, his sister, and some others on an old YouTube channels Dave subscribed to on a MySpace page. Blah, blah, blah. Old Flash animations. Something. So he's basically saying, do I know anything about this band that had Dave, his sister, and this other guy on it? No, because I tried to find what you were telling me about, and I couldn't find a single thing related to it. So
I'm gonna impersonate Kieran and just say no.
I think that clears it up. Yeah, go ask somebody else. So
yeah,
that's the end of it today for now. Hopefully, I can edit this.
What did you think of this boy in the band? I mean, You What Army? What even were these tracks? Old songs, compilation.
Like old songs, demos. I think for me personally, they were pretty good, but obviously not for you, which is fine.
No, I don't think none of them were consistently good to me.
Well, I mean, yeah.
If You and What Army was an instrumental band, they would be good.
Yeah, I get everything that you're saying. I really do. Although I said that I'd give you a few Spotify recommendations.
Yes, give Spotify recommendations to the three people.
If you want to listen to the demos, please do go drop by Joe's channel, give him a
Link in
comment.
the description.
Yes, there will be. There definitely will be. Right, I'll give you recommendations from 2 albums, because the first album isn't very... If you didn't like these, you're probably not going to like the first album very much. But the ones that I would recommend from the second album are the songs Watch Me Fly and Ascension. And from the Yilmah Army album, I would recommend Lucidity and Visionary for you.
Is this Dave?
No, that's Kieran.
All right, I was going to say that's why it's good. Good singing. That was a good bit. The first one was that Watch Me Fly was the first one.
Yes.
That was good. That was a very good. Rate that. That was like a 7.
Yeah.
That's the best thing out of this entire thing.
Right. Well, I didn't expect that, to be honest. So that is the end of the video. Hopefully I can edit this down into something watchable, and then I will post this
2
on the
hour
Boyna Band
recording.
Yes, and then I will post this on the Boyna Band subreddit and probably get doxxed and eventually assassinated. But
Let's go. Can't wait for it. Can't wait.
hopefully
Very cool.
that will be all right. Thank you so much for coming on, mate, and
Welcome.
helping out
Thank you
with
for
this.
having me and dealing with my bullshit.
No, it's all right. I would like to give a shout out to Kieran, who is doing his own cool solo stuff at the minute. So if you're into like more singer-songwritery type stuff, I'd go and check that out. His link's in the description. I'll put it in there. Go check out Joe. He's done all the archival stuff and has been a great help with this overall. And he's just a brilliant guy in general. So go and, pop in and say hello around his neck of the woods as well. Me and Cal have just put out a video where we pick apart the Netflix's documentary Social Dilemma, which I will also link. It's a brilliant video, I think, so go and check it out. It's also quite funny. But I'll see you in a bit. Any closing words, my friend?
Song's bad. Long hair man. Bad singer.
Right. See you later.